So in our practice or in maybe in our daily work, I think we try to find a way, and we hope that the way that we try to develop is the right one that will satisfy the client. But the client is sometimes, I mean, you have so many different clients, and sometimes your client won't be the people who will use the building. So I should maybe talk much more about the users than the client. I mean, one project is one experience, kind of a prototype, and for each project you have some specific conditions. Then also this is a specific relationship with your client, with everybody, so that but of course you have so many different actors in this process, which is quite long. I mean, from the competition until the completion of the project. Most of the projects that we develop at the office, we did a competition, and then if we develop the studies, so we won the project and then some ideas on the backside. That means that we have to develop the project as we proposed. So this is the challenge, and this is what we have to do. I mean, and all the energy that we have to develop will be to reach the goals that we fixed during the competitions. So that's quite important. And then the client is just here just to make some, just to tell his point of view. But most of the time, I mean, if he decided to take our project, then most of the time we don't have to deal so much. I think it's really different if the client comes at the office and say, yeah, I like a project. I like a project from your office, and then you have to start to deal, you have to start to talk, and we don't like so much to talk, and we prefer to do the project and then to propose something that we think that's the best solution. So that's maybe one of the reasons for why we like so much competitions. I mean, of course, we lost some of them, and but it's always important. I mean, to win some of them, of course, but to lose is not, you don't lose the project anyway. I mean, because you develop some ideas, and then it will probably help you for the next project. So, you know. When you complete a project, then suddenly it's a new story. I mean, then suddenly the people will arrive, will start to use the building, and probably not in the way that you thought during all the studies. And this is quite exciting moment. I mean, just to see how the building is able to absorb or to absorb the different ways that the people imagine. I mean, use it in a simpler way. So this is really important. I mean, that's the reason for why we did so many. I mean, not researches, but much more. I mean, we come back several times in the building, not only because there are some problems to solve after the completion, but just to check and just to understand what we did, and just this meeting point between a project that you complete and then the way that the people use it. So it's, of course, not the most important thing, but this is just to say, okay, did you reach the goals? And but of course, the main question on the backside in your question, I mean, what I think is so important is that probably we don't try to define or just to say, so this is this way to use this space or to use this building. What is so important is just to say, okay, so this is like a tool, like a building that is done to be used, and then we just propose a dispositif. I mean, this is some surfaces, some walls, but then do what you want in the building. So that's quite important. That maybe this is we don't try to control everything, and we don't try to control the uses, because you cannot control the life. I mean, so this is sometimes you have some really good surprises, and sometimes not. So you just have to understand why there is a gap or some gaps between what you thought and the reality or the way that the people leave the building. But that's really, I mean, anyway, that's absolutely the most, maybe, this is a really important moment anyway. I mean, just to observe your project, I mean, not to say, is it nice or not? I think we don't care so much about this. I mean, it's important, but this is not the most important thing. So about the relationship with time, I mean, we try to, yeah, just to define maybe a constructive object or a building which is able to evolve in time. So that's the reason for why we work so much about the programs. I mean, how to manipulate the programs and how to find a way that to get or to reach a form of malleability of the spaces. So that's quite important. I mean, just not to fix, but just to give much more freedom to the users there. So it's really, so that's probably the goal of architecture, I mean, in my point of view. I mean, this is not the question of the facade or that kind of things. I mean, all we do, this is just to, yeah, okay, so there will be some people who will leave the building. So that's maybe the main target that we fixed, or we could say that we could share together. Maybe the most interesting experience for us is this project that we completed 2 years ago in Caen. So this research center, and so this is a really cheap building, and we built it in a very short time, and the client during the competition and also during all the studies didn't know so much about what he will do in this building, and that was really a great opportunity just for us just to say, okay, that's, you have to keep this idea. I mean, it's not necessary to define now everything. We just have to find the ways to make it work and to imagine that it's possible to practice sports, to manage an exhibition in this project, then really like a Swiss knife. I mean, you have several possibilities to use the space. So, when we completed the project, then suddenly life started to find, I mean, they started to use the building, and then it was really exciting to come back because, so we came back several times, and so sometimes there were some dancers, they used the space for just to, for training, or sometimes they were an exhibition, sometimes they were a lecture. I mean, then suddenly one part of the building was used for lecture room, as a lecture room. And so that's exactly what we wanted to do in this project. And that's, then suddenly the client said, yeah, that's so nice to do what we want in this project. So that's really important experience in our practice. I mean, so then suddenly you feel that probably you find the right attitude. I mean, so yeah.